Our total awareness of who we are is called our concept of ourself. And our concept of ourself is everything that we believe to be true. That everything that you believe true got you to this place. And if you want to get to this place, this extraordinary level of consciousness, you have to do something that Saint Germain says only a handful of people are capable of doing. You must be willing to change your concept of yourself. You must be willing to change what you believe to be true. That is, what is possible or not possible for you. We have a tendency to just attribute things to like science. You know, we'll say, well, science tells us, and if it's not scientific, if there's not evidence for it, you have to take and understand that everything that we have scientific evidence for has been studied by a brain that is studying a brain. And what we have to do is get to a place of awareness in which we're beyond the brain. And the brain can't do this. The brain can't be objective enough to figure out things because the brain is linear. The brain believes in cause and effect and beginnings and ends and what you can see and what you can touch. So now what we have to do is get to a different place within ourselves. And in Man's Search for Meaning, which is required reading, if you're watching this on video, if you're listening today, you really should read Man's Search for Meaning. It really talks about how people were able to survive by just having meaning in their lives. Our need to have meaning in our lives comes from the necessity that we have within us to reach an exalted level of consciousness. We have to be able to change our concept of ourself. And changing your concept of yourself will be the biggest challenge you've ever had in your life. Because you have to change things that you have been told are true, and they're not. We have all been led to believe a lie. When we see with, not through the eye. We've been led to believe a lie. We've been led to believe that who we are is incapable of fulfilling a destiny, a dharma, and doing things that we thought were absolutely impossible. I have a quote here, I think. In order to reach the truth, this is from a French philosopher named René Descartes. In order to reach the truth, it is necessary at some point in one's life to rid oneself of all of the opinions one has received and to rebuild one's entire system of knowledge from the very foundations. René Descartes. I wrote this out 2 days ago, or 2 months ago. If there is intelligence behind life, and there is every reason to believe that there must be, then all of that intelligence is innate in each creation of that intelligence. Thus, universal mind, or the higher self, is complete and entire within each of us. We have only to discover it for its power and perfection for it to be ours. So, again, if there is intelligence behind life, and we all know that there is, then that intelligence that is behind life is innate in each creation of that intelligence. If you come from that intelligence must be in you. So God must be in you, or whatever you want to call that, the divine mind, God, Tao, spirit, consciousness, higher consciousness. When you begin to recognize that that spark can grow to become you, and we haven't been trained to believe that, and I don't know why. Why weren't we raised to believe that we are God? Jesus says it in John 10:34, as he's about to be stoned. Why would you stone me? You are a man and you claim to be God. Is it not written in your laws that I have said, you are God? Those are right out of the words of Jesus. It's right in there. You could look it up. St. Paul in Philippians, have in you the same mind as Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, did not consider it robbery to be equal with God. Go to Psalms 82 in the Old Testament. You are all children of the Most High. Ye are all God's. It's all over the scriptures. It's in the Quran. It's in the Bhagavad Gita. It's in all of the holy books. God and you are one. You must be like what you came from. As you change your thought patterns to raise your energy vibrations and reduce the demands of your ego, you'll begin developing a reverent or holy relationship with others. Then everyone is perceived as complete. When you can celebrate differences in others as interesting or enjoyable, you're loosening your identity with ego. The holy relationship is a way of matching up with the universal source of creation and being peacefully joyful. Any relationship, or even an encounter, from the holy perspective, is a coming together with the beloved self aspect and discovering a stimulating connection with the power of intention. I urge you to establish a holy relationship with your source, the world community, your neighbors, acquaintances, family, the animal kingdom, our planet, and yourself as well, and you'll enjoy the power of intention through holy relationships. It's all about relationship. What follows is my opinion on how you'll impact others when you're resonating with intention, and how different your impact is when you're dominated by your ego's separatist attitude. Here are some of the most significant ways in which you will find yourself impacting others. Your presence instills calmness. When you coincide with intention, your impact on others has a calming influence. People tend to feel more at peace, less threatened, and more at ease. The power of intention is the power of love and receptivity. It asks nothing of anyone. It judges no one, and it encourages others to be free to be themselves. As people feel calmer in your presence, they're inclined to feel safe by virtue of the energy frequencies that you radiate. Their feelings are encouraged by your energy of love and receptivity, causing them to want to reach out and be with you. As Walt Whitman put it, we convince by our presence. You'll find that your presence leaves others feeling energized when you're connected to intention. When you bring the frequencies of intention into the presence of others, they'll feel energized just by being in your immediate circle. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to act in any prescribed fashion. Your energy of intention alone will make others in your field feel as if they've mysteriously been empowered in some way. As you begin consciously expressing the 7 faces of intention, you'll discover that others begin to comment on the impact you're making on them. They'll want to assist you in fulfilling your own dreams. They'll be energized and volunteer to help you. They'll even begin to offer to finance your dreams with their energized new ideas. Your presence also allows others to feel better about themselves. Have you ever noticed when you're in the presence of certain people that you feel better about yourself? Their compassionate energy has the noticeably pleasant impact of simply making you feel really good about yourself. You'll impact others with this energy of compassion as you develop your connection to intention. On the contrary, being in the company of someone who's disdainful or indifferent impacts you quite differently. If this is the low energy you transmit to others, they're quite likely to depart the encounter feeling less than wonderful about themselves. Moreover, it leaves others feeling as if they're insignificant or unimportant, and obviously feeling worse about themselves when it's a repeated pattern in a significant relationship. Your presence allows others to feel unified. The effect of being in the presence of people expressing high frequencies is to feel unified and connected to all of nature, all of humankind, and to intention. As you raise your frequencies, your impact on others invites them to be on the same team. You are unified and want to assist each other in the fulfillment of a common objective. Your presence also instills a sense of purpose in others. When you're in the higher spiritual energies, you bring something to others that's almost inexplicable. Your presence and behavior from a space of love and acceptance, non-judgment and kindness, becomes a catalyst for others feeling on purpose in their lives. By staying at the higher energies of optimism, forgiveness, understanding, reverence for spirit, creativity, serenity, and bliss, you radiate this kind of energy and convert lower energies to your higher vibrations. These people whom you so non-deliberately impact begin to feel your quiet reverence and serenity. Your own purpose, which revolves around serving others and therefore serving God, becomes fulfilled. And as a bonus,
you've created allies who will want to help you with your intentions. Your presence allows others to trust in authentic personal connections. By bringing the traits of intention to others, you allow trust to be present. You'll notice both an inclination and a willingness on the part of others to open up and confide in you. This is related to the quality of trust. In the atmosphere of higher energy, people trust and want to share their personal stories with you. By being so connected to intention, you are more godlike. And who would you trust more than God to share your secrets with? The opposite results are apparent when you emit the lower energy frequencies. Why? Because your low energies help to create a counterforce. Conflict erupts, winners and losers are necessary, and enemies automatically are created. All because of your unwillingness to stay connected to the faces of intention. Your presence inspires others to greatness. When you're connected to spirit and quietly reflect this consciousness, you become a source of inspiration to others. In a sense, this is one of the most powerful effects that connecting to intention transmits to others. The word inspiration means in spirit. The fact that you're primarily in spirit means that you inspire rather than inform with your presence. You won't inspire others by loudly insisting or demanding that others listen to your point of view. Your presence actually aligns others with beauty. When you're connected to intention, you see beauty everywhere and in everything because you're radiating the quality of beauty. Your perceptual world changes dramatically. At the higher energy of intent, you see beauty in everyone, young or old, rich or poor, dark or light, with no distinctions. Everything is perceived from a perspective of appreciation rather than judgment.
Make no mistake about it that every emotion you experience in your life is a choice. Not that they're bad. Emotions are wonderful. But if any emotion you experience in your life is immobilizing, keeping you from being where you want to be, keeping you from your purpose, from your mission, from your joy in life. And don't forget that the major purpose of life is to enjoy it. Look, if you learn how to enjoy your life, every moment you have, even the rotten ones, if you can do that, do you understand that you can never be a burden to anyone else? Isn't that the least selfish thing you can do? Isn't that the most glorious and graceful and loving thing you can do, is never be anybody else's burden? That's not selfish to know how to enjoy your life. It's selfless. It's not putting other people down at your expense or anybody else's expense or elevating yourself up to make others look. It's nothing like that. There is only one morality in the universe. Every human being has a right to live their life as they choose to live it, as long as they don't interfere with anyone else's right to do the same.
See, you can image anything for yourself. You can visualize for yourself. You can never visualize for other people to be different than they are. You don't have that kind of capacity, all right? Each person's karma is their own. Each person's life is their own to live. You cannot say, I'm going to image you doing this for me, and if you don't, then I'm going to be happy. What you can say is, I am going to have an image of myself not being upset when you don't do the things that I want you to do, that I would like it better if you did. When you get that image inside of you, then if they do it, that's terrific. And if they don't, you don't look at that as not terrific. You look at that as where they are right now. And Robert Frost had a wonderful definition of love. He said that we love the things we love for what they are. And that same thing goes for people, for what they are, not for what I would like them to be. And we don't alter or want to alter the things we love. You love it for what it is, rather than what it can do for you. Same with your children.
I have spent the last 10 months of my life almost exclusively in working on a book that will be out in the fall called What Do You Really Want for Your Children? And it's about applying the principles of all of my books to the raising of children. And I think about what is important. What is it that we want for our children? One of the things that I want for my children, for all the children of our world, which I think of them all as mine, I think we're all one, we're all in this thing together, is for them to grow up believing that they have a choice. You know, I have 5 children, and it's rare to see my children fight. They haven't been grown up on fighting. They have never had fighting reinforced. as something that is only normal and kids only fight. They've always had a kind of a belief system that it's not normal to fight and be angry and to hate each other, and that those impulses are things that we can learn to tame and not have, because fighting and anguish and pain and despair are things that bring us down and kind of destroy our lives. My children have grown up with the different attitudes about almost everything, but one of the things they are is full of love. When my daughter was in the second grade, she came home and she said, "Billy doesn't like me. Billy doesn't like me." She was all upset about that. I said, "I understand that. This is Billy's day. It's one of the things Billy does on Tuesdays. Do you like you?" "Oh yeah, of course I like me." So, well, that's all you've got. She'd go away, and she was used to her daddy talking to her weird like this. So many other daddies and mommies in the neighborhood say, "Oh my goodness, what can we do to get Billy to like you? Let's see, maybe we'll give him some money. You know, maybe we'll let him play with your sandbox, or maybe we'll do whatever we can." You see, even at 2, a child doesn't have to learn that Billy's behavior toward her ought to be anything that brings her down. Do you understand that every moment in your life that you spend upset, despaired, anguished, angry, hurt because of the behavior of anybody else in your life is a moment in which you have given up control of your life? Is a moment in which you have said to the people in your world, "What you think of me is more important than what I think of myself. And so I will do whatever I have to do to get you to like me." Instead of, I will fill myself with love, and I will send that out into the world. And those that accept it, that's wonderful. And those that don't, that just happens to be where they are now. There is a karma to this planet that I'm only beginning to understand. But one thing I know is that when I put responsibility on me for my suffering, for my pain, for my difficulty, and when I send out love as my reaction to anybody else's anguish, that I get it back.
Have you ever wanted to change some facet of your personality, but another part of you insisted that this is impossible because your genetic program is responsible for how you think, feel, and behave? That latter part of you believes in biologically determined unhappy genes, or shy genes, or fat genes, and bad luck genes, among many others. Due to your luck of the draw, it will tell you you have a set of misery genes, along with a sizable cachet of weight-gaining genes, if those are the aspects you want to change. This part means to be helpful, but while it probably wants to protect you from the disappointment of failure, it keeps you stuck in an excuse-driven life. Using the excuse of genetic programming not to do anything about the personal characteristics that you dislike is popular and clearly acceptable in today's culture. So with the aforementioned genetic predisposition as an excuse, living in a constant or unnecessary terror might be excused as an overabundance of fear cells emanating from microscopic strands of DNA attached to your biological originating cellular structure, and you're stuck with it. Thus, a formidable excuse is formulated. No wonder a part of you gets indignant when you attempt to be brave, since it believes, "I can't change my biology." A sense of powerlessness ensues when it comes to altering anything about yourself that has become so established that it feels like who you really are. This is particularly true when you observe traits and characteristics that have been with you for as long as you can recall. As if to further cement the idea that you've always been this way into your total worldview, the limiting part of you asserts, "There's nothing that can be done about it. After all, I can't change my basic biology." Excuse me. Thanks to the principles I share in this program, you most certainly can. The belief that we cannot change our biology is beginning to be challenged by scientific scholars engaged in cell biology research. It seems that humans do have the ability to change and even reverse some of their genetic blueprints. Openness and curiosity, along with a desire to be free from excuses, are the basic prerequisites for learning about the exciting evidence concerning genetic predisposition. One of the pioneers of the new way of understanding DNA, Bruce Lipton, Ph.D., is a cell biologist who taught medical students before resigning to do research and lecture full-time. In a groundbreaking book called The Biology of Belief, Lipton writes that life is not controlled by genes. In fact, his research led him to the conclusion that they're strictly blueprints. The invisible, formless energy that constitutes the gene's environment is the architect that turns the blueprint into this mystery we call life. Even more astonishing is Lipton's understanding that our personal belief systems, including our perceptions, have the capacity to trump our genetic inheritance and our cellular DNA. It's possible to influence the infinitesimally tiny particles we've come to believe are the ultimate determiners of our lives. That is, when we change the way we think and learn new ways of perceiving, we can actually change our DNA. In other words, you can impact and alter your genetic structure by modifying how you see yourself and your place in this glorious mystery called life. Your perceptions have the power to change your genetic makeup. Your beliefs can and do control your biology. Now, this may sound radical or even impossible, yet it is this awareness that will lead you to say goodbye to the excuses you've unwittingly adopted. Your beliefs carry far more weight than you realized in determining what you can do, what you'll undertake, and how far you're capable of going.
Treasuring our divinity instead of being terrified of it. Knowing that I am always connected to my source. There is no way that I cannot, because it is in you, and I am in you, and you are in me, and you can never be separated from it. There is no place that this source is not. It grows everybody's fingernails. It beats everybody's hearts. It digests everybody's foods. It opens all the flowers, and you're always connected to it.
The essence of putting these profound teachings to work in your life. Number 1, be willing to change your concept of yourself, which means changing what you have believed to be true. 2, recognize yourself as always connected to your source of being. 3, become willing to say, I am God, from an egoless perspective. 4, treasure your greatest gift, your imagination. 5, live as if what you desire is already here. 6, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. 7, never let your attention be directed by anything or anyone other than your own highest self. 8, use the last moments of your day before sleeping to reinforce in your mind your desires as fulfilled. 9, have a mind that is open to all possibilities. And 10, remember always, from the words of Rumi, quote, you were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly, unquote.